Hey folks, my guest today is Steve Benson. He's building a great tool called Badger, like the animal, mapping.com. It's routing, mapping, and gathering data from the field for field sales teams. Steve, you ready to take us to the top?
Let's do it.
Now, I hope you take this as a compliment, but like I look at your business and I go, this company should have died during COVID, but you didn't somehow, right? No one's going knocking on doors during COVID. Everyone's locked up. Why didn't you die?
So true. So true. As you know, we sell things to field salespeople, and during COVID, that really slowed down. We probably lost 40% of our customers during, like, revenue wise, during 2020. That
Mhm.
being said, we were able to sell to a bunch of new customers during that period. So we only ended up down about 10% in
Who new
terms
did you
of
sell to though? Why were no one was driving door to door?
they were. It just depends where you were, right? I mean, we were in California at the time. California was pretty shut down, but if you went to,
Texas,
I don't want to name names, but
Florida.
they were pretty open, and so this was really a regional thing and country by country, and frankly, people were also if business kept going and people were just taking precautions, right? Like
Yeah.
if you sold beer to bars, 2020 was tough in a lot of places, right? I mean, San Francisco's bars didn't open until last week, right? But if you sold medical devices to hospitals never closed.
I see.
And
What is your like if you look at the actual industry that all these field sales reps are in who use Badger Maps, what is it? Is medical device sales the top one?
That's among the top. Yeah, it actually might even be the top. What's interesting is there's not one vertical where you find field salespeople. But it's also not horizontal, right? It's not all over the place. It's not email or text messaging or something you see everywhere. I call it a collection of verticals. So
Yeah.
med device, pharmaceutical, construction stuff. But really, if you walk down Main Street anywhere in the world, right, you'll see a dentist office, and you'll see a tire store, and you'll see a bar. So the guy selling beer to bars, field salesperson. The people selling medical devices and materials to dentists to fix teeth, field salesperson. The
Yep.
the person selling tires to tire stores, field salesperson. So a lot of these little, I call them end nodes of consumption. There's probably a better economic term for that, but I don't know what they are. But walking down Main Street, all these places, they didn't make, they didn't smelt the metal to make the thing that they're giving you, right? They bought a semi-finished good or even a completely finished good, and they're putting a markup on it if it's retail, or maybe they're doing some service, but the tire store didn't make the tires.
Yeah, no,
Goodrich
this
made the
this makes
tires.
sense. Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So how many today paid field rep seats are on your platform?
Paid field rep seats. Well, our average price point, our price, like some people buy annual, some people buy monthly, but $69. I'm sorry, $59 a month. If we're playing with our prices, they're about to go up, but so 59 and 49 right now, annual and monthly. And so, I think our average price is probably around 55. So you could divide our total revenue, which is right around 5 million. We're about to cross 5 either this month or next month, I think. And so if you divided that by $55 times 12, you'd get the I could do it on my phone here if you want me to, but
7,000. So you've got
7,000.
I was gonna say 7,500 customers or seats paying $55 a month on average would be 5 million run rate.
Yeah, that's right around where it is. And now most of our money doesn't come from individuals; it comes from companies that might.
I was just going to ask that. So how many logos are those 7,500 reps spread across?
About 4,500.
Okay, so on average, 2 seats per company.
Yeah, but that's because half of them are 1 seat, but then some are 350 seats, right?
Is that your biggest customer, 350 seats?
As of right now, but a little bird on the sales team tells me that we're about to do 1,000 seat one. So for the first time. So
that'd be huge. What's that sales motion like? How long?
It actually hasn't been. Well, I guess it depends how you count it. They, like most companies that purchase us, they've had a few reps, like 10 using it for a while. So if you want to count that as the beginning of the sales cycle, they've been using it for years, but they engaged with us meaningfully maybe 4 or 5 months ago as a company. And it started out pretty small. Like they wanted to go from 10 to maybe getting like 100 for this one division. And then then it became the whole division, which was 200 seats. Now that's a pretty meaningful deal, right? You're talking, $100,000 a year or something. And then whoever the boss of sales of that division was, they were like, wait, what, if this is so good for the Northeast, why doesn't the whole country need this? Why we have 5 divisions? Why are just you getting this? Why aren't we looking at this as a country? And so it expanded pretty quickly from a 10-seat deal to a 100-seat deal to a 200-seat deal to a 1,000-seat deal.
Yep, that's great. Now, talk to me about growth. If you're at 5 million revenue today, where were you exactly a year ago?
Exactly a year ago, we started this year at 350 in MRR. So I'd have to run that math, but what is that? 4.2-ish?
Yeah, 4.2 up to 5 now.
Yeah. So we've grown. We may, if we get this 1,000-seat deal, we'll end the year at between 30-35% growth.
Which I love that growth. See, you can afford to grow that way without having people breathe down your neck because you haven't raised any VC. But any VC-backed founder, that 30% growth is unacceptable, right? So how do you think about funding, Bootstrap versus, a VC-backed?
Oh, as you know from me speaking at your conference, I have lots of opinions on this.
Were you burned by VC in the past or what?
No, I've never been burned by VC. I think I have nothing against VC. I don't speak ill on their house or anything, but for the vast majority of SaaS founders, they're not the right fit, right? They only want to invest in a very small slice of the world of SaaS, right? The super high growth, huge companies, and there's the VAT 90, I don't know, you might know the numbers better than me, but I'd guess north of 90% of SaaS businesses just aren't pursuing a big enough business, or they're too niche, or their growth is too small. It's too hard to get the word out, but they're great businesses, right? And when I've talked to VCs, I think that's basically the feedback that I've gotten from them is, hey, this looks like a great business. It's just, it's not going to grow fast enough or be big enough for us. We're hunting decacorns around here.
Yeah.
This will make you rich.
So how much
of us rich?
You haven't raised much. I mean, I don't think you raised any, or maybe very little. But so, like, are you able to share how much equity you've been able to hold on today?
Yeah. So we've only brought in, from an investor perspective, we've sold about, I think 12% of the company to investors. So, and there's no professional money in there. I mean, there's professional investors who aren't investing as their fund, but people in private equity, that sort of thing.
Does that mean you personally still own more than 75, 80%?
No, I mean, we have a pretty generous employee pool. And so
what is that, 10%?
No, I think that's closer to 20.
Okay.
And then there's between the other co-founders, that's another, probably 30-ish%. So I own more than half of the business, but then there's, there was a co-founder that joined early and left, and that's expensive. And just employees, and so, but no, we've never sold. We've given a lot of equity away to people who have worked on the product and at the company, but we've never sold equity to an investor.
Yep. I want to come back to this in a second, but first, what's team size today? How many folks full time?
I guess, including like contractors, we've probably got about 70 employees.
And what about just full-time folks, not including contractors?
Probably 50, just over 50.
That's great. So tell me how a lot of people want to use contractors. They're cheaper and they can usually still generate good output if they're operating a good system. So who do the 20 contractors, what do they do for Badger?
We have a team in the Philippines, and I would recommend any company do this. I think there's so much value to having a team of people really just care for your customers and be there for your customers. Written support, could be IM support, could be phone support, but just having an overseas team that is just 24/7, 363. No Christmas or New Year's, I guess, but like almost all the time being available to your customers is really valuable. And we treat them as employees. They're not contractors, I would say.
So that's what they do. They're all your customer support reps.
Yeah. And then there are a handful of other contractors. Like if you need someone specialized for something, some engineering skill that you don't have in house, but you just need for a little while, that's a great place to contract. Things like SEO or SEM skills, some different marketing things, that are very specialized, but not a full-time employee. That's a great place.
So Steve, as we wrap up here, got about a minute left. Again, you've done a nice job preserving equity here, 5 million run rate. We've obviously done a deal together in terms of debt. I'd love, if you're open to it, to share sort of what you liked and disliked about that.
Okay. Yeah. So I strongly recommend that SaaS businesses that have revenue look to debt before equity. Even if you're in between rounds and you can just push off that next round 5 months, it really can help with you.
Can you back that up though? I mean, are you comfortable sharing how much debt you've raised?
Sure. I think I've done about $6 million in debt over the years, on and off, and moving it around. Right now I have about 2.25 with you guys at Founder Path, as you know. And so I'd strongly recommend people take a look at that. I mean,
how long do you have? Look, I know the answer to this, but I want the audience to hear. How long do you have to pay the 2.2 million back? Do you remember how many months?
48.
Yeah. So a lot of people, A
48
lot of people
months and a
assume it's quick, and I'm like, no, we do deals with companies like Steve all the time where it's a 48-month payback.
So, and this is really important, right? The reason they assume this is because a lot of the SaaS debt providers are doing year-long deals. That's really risky because you're saying you're going to pay their debt back with more debt, but we're staring down the barrel of a recession right now. They may or may not give you more debt depending on what happens, right? You may or may not be able to be creditworthy in a year, right? You don't know what's going to happen. But so if you can't plan to pay back debt with more debt, you have to be able to pay back debt with your revenue. And to do that, you need a longer term. But a lot of the companies that are providing debt are like, hey, yeah, here's a year, here's $2 million and pay us back over the next year. And if you need more money, we'll give you more money. And that's a great strategy until they say, oh, we can't give you more money. So
Yeah.
and I've done deals with some of the bigger players in the space, and I've kind of chased the best deal, the fastest, easiest to work with, and the cheapest deal, and landed at your doorstep. So I've moved millions of dollars of debt around twice now. So yeah, so you're my third major
Debt provider.
third major debt provider I've worked with.
Well, I remember you and I talking years ago before there was Founder Path. I'm like, what would be the perfect debt offer for SaaS founders? And now, fast forward today, we've got, we've deployed over $100 million of capital out of a $150 million fund, and more news to come on that here shortly. But it's crazy. I mean, this is a real option for bootstrap founders. It is not a maybe or a guess. It is a real option.
No, I mean, and very quickly and efficiently, everyone that has revenue and a debt and a SaaS company should check into this and look at debt either to extend their current runway, to get the next round later, to skip a round, or to never do a round which is the path that I've pursued.
Yeah. On that note, Steve, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, favorite book.
Favorite book. I think Impossible to Inevitable is one that every SaaS founder should read. I mean, your book, I must have 5 copies of your book laying around. I mean,
That means came to a lot of conferences.
I've come to a lot. Yeah, you keep giving me more, and I give them to my employees. I pass them out. What is it? How to make money without money, or
got
something?
it. It's like how to be a capitalist without any capital. Yep. Story of my first SaaS company. So, all right. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
A CEO that I am studying. I've always got my eye on Mark Benioff, because he bought my biggest competitor for $250 million bucks or so. So
it's a good
a couple
reason.
years ago. So I keep my eye on that guy. He knows what he's doing.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Badger?
Favorite online tool. I mean, I guess it depends in building it in what way. I love Profitwell. It's a great way to kind of get a good vision of the business. I mean, in terms of like what I use all day, every day, I think there's nothing like Google Docs. There's the collaboration elements of it. That's my favorite.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I used to, the first 5 or 6 years of Badger's life, I probably averaged about 4.5 during the weekdays. And today I bet I average about 7.
There you have it. And
now that I have a real baby, life's easier than when I just had everyone talks about how you don't sleep when you have a real baby. I'm like, this real baby is easy compared to having a software company baby. That was a way worse baby.
Steve and I lived in a house together during COVID that he organized with a bunch of other founders. And we had, dinner parties. And one time this very nice lady came over with a cheese plate, and her and Steve fell in love, and now they're married, and now they have a kid. And I'm just like, okay, well, where's mine? When is someone going to walk into my house with a cheese plate and I'm going to fall in love?
I mean, maybe you've got to walk in with the cheese plate.
There.
why are you waiting
knowledge
for
bombs being dropped? Maybe that's my problem. All right, I'm going to go to Costco right after this and buy all of their cheese plates. All right. So married, 1 kid, and Steve, how old are you?
I am 44 years young.
44. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Wish I knew when I was 20. I think the career choices that I made the first half of my career, it was all big company. It was Allstate Insurance, IBM, autonomy which got bought by HP, Google. I wish that I wish that I had worked for some smaller companies early on, because it would have really, I think that you get overcompensated in this world for creating things. And that was always going to be a good fit for me. And I wish that I had worked at some smaller companies to get a better feel for everything that goes into that. Like I look at some of my employees and who are like, in their late 20s, but have been working for me for, 5 years. And they know so much more than I knew when I was their age, because they've worked for a small company and you get bigger, you get to have a bigger impact and get to have a broader understanding of what's going on. Because there's just fewer people to do stuff. And so you get your hands in the real stuff. So I would tell the younger Steve to work for some smaller companies and learn, you'll to learn more about how to one day be an entrepreneur.
Guys, there you have it. Badgermapping.com launched in 2013. They're doing about a $5 million run rate today, up from 4.2 million exactly 1 year ago, serving 4,200 logos, over 7,500 paid seats at about $50 a seat. They help your field reps deliver the tires on time, take the beer to the local pub on time, and also do it in a route that is most efficient. They should have died during COVID. They didn't. They just pivoted. They did very well. Now they're growing, all bootstrapped, which we love. He's using debt, full disclosure, from Founder Path, which we love. But Steve, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks for having me, Nate.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.